Hello everybody, welcome to AstroFiles. My name is Aryandev Pandey and I am deeply interested into space science. And this is my first YouTube video. My purpose to start this channel is to share information and spread awareness about the need to understand and explore space. So I hope and wish that you will get to learn something new from this channel. So let's get into the video right away. So what I have here is the Lego version of the Apollo Saturn V rocket, which was used for the Apollo missions. And I'm going to build this rocket first, which is obviously going to take a lot of time, and then some information about it. Okay, so overall we have got 12 packets from the box, which took a lot of time to get out. And plus we have this very interesting booklet, which is obviously going to tell you how to build the rocket. And it has also got some nice information and a couple of pictures about the Apollo program, and a very detailed map about where all those stages are separated from the rocket, main engine and all of that.
One eternity later.
Okay, so finally our model of the Saturn V rocket is ready. Magnificent, isn't it? Okay, so here we have the first stage, which is the heaviest and the biggest part of the rocket, obviously. And then comes the second stage right here, which is smaller than the first stage. And then the smallest part of the rocket, which is the third stage. Now, quick fact about the Saturn V rocket, that it was launched from the Cape Canaveral Air Office Station, Launch Complex 39A, Florida, USA. Wow, honestly it's much taller than what I expected it to be. And let us have a quick size comparison. So this is a miniature astronaut, and I believe that the ratio of the Lego man or the astronaut to the rocket is to scale with the real one. So let's just compare the first stage and this tiny Lego man right here. Okay. The man is much shorter than one of those engines right here. This gives us the idea about how massive the Saturn V was. Or to be precise, it was about 110 meters tall or 363 feet long. So here is a real picture of the engines of the Saturn V rocket for size comparison. Now let's look at some information about the rocket. So stage 1. This one was called the S1C stage and was powered by 5 F1 rocket engines. The propellant, which is nothing but the fuel and oxidizer, were liquid oxygen and kerosene. It was manufactured by the Boeing company. So this, as I mentioned, was the tallest and the biggest part of the rocket, and precisely it was 42 meters tall and 10 meters in diameter, and provided 33,000 kilonewtons of thrust to a rocket, which is quite obvious because the task of this stage was to lift up the whole rocket to a height of 68 kilometers. And the central engine right here was fixed, but the other 4 engines could be controlled, and its mass with the propellant, which is also known as the wet mass, was about 2,280,000 kilograms, and a mere 130,000 kgs without the propellant at all. So this particular stage carried the rest of the rocket at 68 kilometers after firing for about 2 minutes and 42 seconds, including the 12 seconds it took to leave the launch umbilical tower, which is right here. So this part is known as the launch umbilical tower, or LUT. Okay, so let us have a look at the second stage, which is also called the S2 stage. Now the thrust here was provided by 5 smaller J2 rocket engines, providing a thrust of about 4,400 kilonewtons. And the fuel used here was for the second stage was liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. Now this stage shuts off about 9 minutes and 12 seconds after liftoff, and the burn time would be approximately 6 minutes or so. And it took the remaining part of the vehicle to an additional height of 107 kilometers, raising the total altitude to about 175 kilometers. And this stage was built by the North American Aviation. It was as high as 24.9 meters, so about 25 meters approximately, and had a diameter about 10 meters, which was more or less equal to the first stage. And the wet mass and dry mass was 443,000 kgs and a mere 36,200 kgs respectively. Now the third stage. So this third stage was called the S4B and was thrusted by only one J2 rocket engine using the same fuel as the first two stages. This particular stage was built by the Douglas Aircraft Company. Now this was a stage that fired twice for Earth orbit insertion and then for translunar ejection. Now don't be confused, they're actually quite simple terms to understand. So let's understand what's Earth orbit insertion. Here you see the picture of Mother Earth. So Earth orbit insertion is a simple maneuver done to achieve an orbit. In this case, a parking orbit around the Earth. After liftoff and usually second stage burns, what we achieve is something like this. This is our trajectory. So it begins at one point and ends at the other point. Now that's not what we want, because we don't want the rocket to come back. Be it a rocket or a satellite, we want it to orbit the Earth. So at one point we do a Ohm's 2 maneuver. It's written as OHMS2. Ohm's 2 maneuver by providing a delta V in this direction. It's a posigrade burn so that our trajectory is circularized around the planet Earth. Or if you want to an elliptical orbit, then the delta V can be changed accordingly. This was the stage that had the three most important modules: the command module, the service module, and the lunar module right here, which actually put the astronauts on the moon. So our third stage was only about 17.81 meters long, approximately 18 meters, with a diameter of about 6.6 meters. Its wet mass being 123,000 kgs and dry mass about 13,500 kgs, relatively much lower than the first two stages. Okay, then let's move towards docking. So here is our first stage, on top of which goes our second stage, right here, and then our third stage on top, and then this top part goes right here on top. Okay, so our rocket is finally ready, and then we lift off to the moon. Let's talk about this now. Now this is the command module again, simply the small splashdown version of what we see here. And this orange string that you see right here is nothing but an inflated tube that keeps the module afloat on the Pacific Ocean after splashdown. So we started with this rocket, and what safely returns to the Earth is this command module protected by the heat shield, of course. Okay guys, so that's about it for this video. Please leave your comments, suggestions and opinions on the video, and I would love to know whether you would like me to make a video on any specific topic, and support me by subscribing to the channel and leaving a like to this video. Thanks for watching.